Mic test, mic test, mic test. Am I live? Am I live? Let me watch our own stream, make sure I'm live. Alright, hold on, let me see. So, if I am live and if you guys can hear me right now, today we'll be going over, of course, Get to Emperor. And I'll also be going over Saint Dragon as well, because I don't know if there'll be too many content, or I don't know how many content that they'll release when Saint Dragon comes out, and I don't want to like open another whole stream just for Saint Dragon. I mean, I could, but I think I just want to like get us over with in case I'll be busy, you know, at the time as well, right? Oh, hello, welcome. So, am I live? Like, can you guys hear me? And of course, if you're watching this in the future, you know, everything I talked about will be timestamped down in the comments and in the description, so you can just, you know, watch it anytime, or you know, or you can just jump to the place where I talk about. So as far as I know, like, definitely remind me if I forget. I'll be going over Zhong Kui today, or I guess I'll briefly go over, you know, Zhong Kui. I'll briefly go over at Retrofit. I'll also be going over, you know, all of the units in the Getter collab as well. But I'll obviously be more focused on Getter Emperor and Saint Dragon, because you know these two are the most, I guess, the thing that matters the most, to be honest. And I guess Zhong Kui is also, you know, like, reliable for now, but everything else, like except from Zhong Kui, like the units on the bike, like that unit on the bike, Emperor and Saint, everything else isn't really worth, you know, getting in their own way. But again, I will get into it, you know, when I get to that point. Yep, you're live. Okay, awesome, perfect. Okay, so again, just remind me if I forget anything, you know, since the last collab, because the last collab, or the last live stream, the last live stream, I think I ended around Claudius. I think that's where I ended up on. So just remind me in case if I, you know, miss anything. And alright, so without further ado, let's briefly go over Zhong Kui. Now, the Zhong Kui is the last banner unit. Of course, I didn't do a guide on it because, you know, I don't have the mecha. So, or I never used it back when it was in, you know, CN. So I'm not going to, like, you know, try to do any builds about that. But, you know, based on my experience when fighting it, and of course, you know, reading the PvP data, how do I say it? It's definitely still, you know, usable. I'm trying to get to it. It's definitely still usable. I mean, if not, you know, the mecha right below Saint Dragon and right below, you know, Emperor. For now, until, like, you know, of course, more future unit that came out to push them away from the core team. But for now, of course, you know, you will still, you know, if you were to get this unit, you will of course still be using this in your team, because, you know, it is still, you know, I mean, what else are you going to use, right? You know, it is the especially, I think this unit are like a few of the units that was able to actually like do something during the whole meta of, you know, of Get to Emperor and the Saint Dragons, which is, in my opinion, at least when I was fighting it, when I was fighting against, you know, a team with, you know, Zhong Kui, with Emperor, with Saint, and, you know, like all of the, like, the modern stuff, Zhong Kui is a lot harder to deal with, in my opinion, versus, you know, the last collab unit that we have, the Liu Jimalu, whatever, you know, the one with the Retrofit, right? Of course, not to say, you know, that one is not good, because that is also a few mecha that is actually still usable after the whole, you know, Get to Emperor, like the Getter meta, or the Emperor meta just like push through the whole meta. And that's also okay, that's also assuming you're not using 2 Emperor. Now, I don't recommend people getting more than 2 Emperors, but you might see some teams, if you're in top PvP, to see units, someone with 2 Emperors, maybe sometimes even 3 in top, and then the last unit will either be Zhong Kui or, I mean, Saint Dragon. Let's say you have two Get to Emperor and the Saint, and then you got this unit, because, you know, what else are going to use, right? Well, in my case, because I don't have Zhong Kui and I don't have the, you know, Liu model, I actually used Mikoto with Gaogai Guard, because, you know, Mikoto is also the few unit that is actually usable in Get to Meta, or that's survivable, or at least able to do something, and not just, you know, die immediately, because, you know, Mikoto still have the infinite HP thing if she don't just get one shot. But anyway, I just want to say that Zhong Kui is definitely still pretty good when the Get to Meta is in full force. Of course, you know, it will just get pushed out when, you know, newer units come out that can just, you know, replace it in this whole, you know, in the whole Getter meta or the Emperor meta stuff. So in terms of build, I don't know because I never used it, but from what I remember, it kind of got pushed into like a support role. Like it is like because both, at least at the beginning, right? Because nowadays, like in the current meta, right? In the current meta, Getter is kind of being pushed into like a support role ish kind of thing. I mean, I'm this is not the best build over here, but I probably should use phase shift core, and I probably should use a different pet as well. Because now, because at least for now, right, your Getter Emperor and your Sync Dragon is going to be doing DPS, and what's going to happen with your with your other units, like not just Zhong Kui, will probably be on support carry duties. So yeah, and well, I don't know. Yeah, so for those who got this unit, just know that you can still use it. It is not dead. And yeah, but when this unit reruns in a banner, I don't think it will be worth getting because you might as well just save for something in the future that'll be more that'll be more worth it, which will become, or you can just even save for the Tengen Toppa collab that'll be coming soon or something in the future, even more because TDGO collab units or TDGO itself is not actually that great outside of PvE, which I'll get into when TDGL does come into EN. So that's not really brief, but okay, so that's all I want to talk about for Zhong Kui. Now let's talk about At Kai 2. Now At Kai 2 not Kai 2. Now At Kai is definitely one, I guess it can exist. Let's say if you have, okay, so I'm gonna go back to this a lot, right? Let's say you have Saint, let's say you have Emperor, and let's say you have Zhong Kui, or let's say you have the Legion model, and you don't have a fourth unit that is like on par. Then Ad is technically usable, but at the same time, it might lose you the game because the enemy might hit your clones too much to a point where they might get too much Pisces. Because again, right now the DPS are going to be Emperor and Saint, and they are going to eat up those clones pretty well, especially with their AoEs, and they can potentially get a lot of Pisces from it, from the clones. So even though Ad can technically survive in this meta as long as it doesn't get one-shotted, because whenever its clone is gone, it'll heal like I don't know how many percent, but a good amount of HP that can ensure it to survive, actually live in this meta. But again, it might be a double-edged sword, which yeah, because of clones, and then clones might clones are just food for enemies' Pisces. So that's his PvP usage. Like this is like if this is the only sort of mark, because I know a lot of people have AT, right? A lot of people have AT back in the AT meta era. So I know a lot of people has it, but I wouldn't recommend using this unless it is your absolute last resort. You don't have any other more modern units in this in this meta. So just heads up for PvP. Also, if there's any questions, I'll definitely answer it after I finish talking about certain things, right? Zhong Kui Emperor, who's between the Zhong Kui and Emperor, definitely Emperor, yeah. But yeah, I'll answer the question after like every time I finish talking about something, or I guess I will look at the chat if there's anything. Also,欢迎. Alright, so that's at PvP usage. Now for its its more notable usage is actually its PvE usage. Now, people has been using. I mean, you've probably seen in my videos, right? I might be able to see it right now. Actually, hold on. So yeah, give me 1 second, right? Like if I go into right now, you might be able to see the top. Some of the top. I mean, now it's not anymore because now there's more units that came out that you can actually build like a good PvE team now. But a certain is there this still? Yeah, there you go. So this is another more notable point that people are using, but the thing is, under no circumstances should anyone, I mean, unless you're like mega well, or you already have so much ad lying around back in ad meta, and you just like want to like roll 1 or 2 copies for this kind of things. Otherwise, no one should try to do this unless you want to like brick your account, because again, TDGR is coming. And we got the Logress is coming. The Logress is coming, and we got new. It seems like Logress. It seems like we're going into a new age after after Logres, in my opinion, almost. So yeah, I would not recommend rolling this thing for this PvE usage. But let's say if you're someone who was a mega well back then and you have so many at just lying around over here, then sure. If you want to do something like this, like if you already have these things without rolling, then this is something that you can potentially use. But another thing is, right, you're also gonna need all of the other components, because using this one, you're gonna be using like 4, like for example right now we can see 4 funnels. So you're going to kind of have all the ingredients of the top PvE team already in order for this, I guess, team to kind of work. So yeah, it is something I definitely do not recommend. It's much better to just roll, like to just save for like actually new units that can do good in both PvP and PvE. For example, like units like like these, right? Like using like frame setters, TTGR. I mean, again, TTGR is not. I mean, it's usable in PvP, but it's not like it's not that popular at the moment compared to a lot of the other units and such. And of course, with the X. I don't know how to say this unit in English yet. I don't remember how it is, but this last unit here as well. So definitely, again, this is for Omega Wells, so just don't know. But technically, this is a PvE usage that people can do. And yeah. Also, one thing I forgot is that I did use this unit back in back when in Get to Emperor units, because this is technically the unit that I like, a sort of modern unit that I can use. Now, but the thing is, back then I used it along with Hana, which is definitely not how you're supposed to use it. I definitely don't. So I don't think. So I'm gonna, because again, so even though I used it before, I don't want to do a build guide because I don't know like the optimal build for it. I mean, you shouldn't like. It is not a unit that I would recommend using anyway. So if you were to want to use this in PvP, right, then I think it'll be better if you can figure out on your about the build for this unit on yourself, because again, I don't think my builds back then will be good, and I don't think I can come up with like the modern like the super build at the moment, if not at all in this meta. So yeah, so I kind of use this unit as a as a Hana carry back then, because the clones, when the clone dies, it will just heal Ad. So kind of use it as a carry, which I don't think you're supposed to use Ad like that. So yeah. Not easy. Out over get what was out, yeah. But yeah, so that's the Ad PvP usage. And of course for PvE, I'm going to, after the stream, I'm gonna link like a B2B channel, like if you're interested to go see how they are built, because look, I don't know how the triple ad is built, but there is people who have like, I guess like a PvE, I guess, layout, like a general layout of how it might have went. Now take the videos in there with a grain of salt, because at top arena. Now, if you're using the builds that I show, or that I link the channel of in the in the description, you might get to, let's say, top PvPs, right? Top 100 or something. But the higher you are, the builds start to, like, you need to start, I guess, improvising against the team that you're fighting against. So it will not be set. There can be a lot of different things. Especially lately. In NC and pretty much in EN as well. So those kind of builds, just so that you can use it as a reference, but just don't take it as like, oh, these are the most optimal builds, because there are no optimal builds at top level. It's all improvising, and it's all adapting to your opponents and such. So, but I'm gonna link that down if you're interested to see how the triple ad thing might go. So just heads up. So. And I'm gonna briefly go over freaking Shin Getter Robo and Getter Dragon and such. And I mean Getter Roboji. Now Getter Roboji didn't get anything. So again, if you're someone who is really into Getter Roboji, then you'll probably, that can make a case of it being the reason why you might get it. But it is not worth it at all. Don't get it would literally not exist for more than like 5 seconds or like for more than 10 seconds in the battlefield, because it just doesn't do anything. So I don't waste it on it. So at least get Emperor, like, you know, at least get all the things you want first. And let's say if you're still really like get a G and you still have resource left, then maybe you can go for it. But that's also under assumption that you don't like, you know, the Tengen Toppa Gurren. That's also assumed of that. And pretty much the same thing, you know, even though Shin Getter Dragon and Shin Getter both did get a rework, even then it is the same case as Getter Robo G, because none of the retrofit mattered much in a grand scheme of things, despite them actually trying. Like, you can see that they tried with some buffs to make, you know, Shin Getter Dragon works and Shin Getter Robo Retrofit works, but with their abilities nowadays, they couldn't keep up with their own meta, because they just couldn't do anything about it. This is basically their own skill issue, you know, on their own balancing. So, and I'll probably go over the builds like after I finish doing the Emperor and such, because yeah, it's just it's really sad. It is. I mean, it is like, if you have Gaogai God, right? It might be better to use that. I feel like. Well, I don't know actually. I guess depending on the pilot or the builds. But the thing is, your Ryoma is going to be on your getters, right? Your Ryoma is going to be on Emperor, and your Ryoma is going to be on Emperor or Saint. So, you know, the pilots you're going to be using it on Shin Getter is not going to be optimal. Therefore, it would just not be. It would just not be optimal, basically. So yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad that they kind of just butchered, you know, the retrofit of these units, and of course, even more sad for G, because G didn't get anything. It's still stuck in, like, you know, the two lines chassis. Very, very sad. But I'll get into I'll try to come up with something at the end of this, you know, after I finish with Getter, but, you know, just say something on that for now. Alright, so now we can finally get into Getter. Actually, before that, let's talk about Ryoma and Benkei Pilot Awaken. So let me see if I can. Where can I find that? I think both of them is paid pilots, right? Hold on, one moment. Just gonna go in here real quick. Hold on. Okay. Okay, hold on. My bad. Whatever. So, where is Ryoma? Ryoma. Wait, is Ryoma not in Hardbox? Oh, right, it's probably in Collab Hardbox, right? Hold on, one moment. Okay, where the hell is oh, here it is. Okay, so let's start with Benkei, because Benkei is the one that is a bit easier. So all Benkei really does is just, I mean, I think it technically use him in certain area, maybe in Zenith or something, but yeah, I don't really think I don't think his main usage is just being a funnel, because when he gets in, like, when he gets max SP, I think it will give everyone what's called, yeah, it will gain immunity and for short time for all the pilots. Yeah, it will just, you know, gain some damage buff and, you know, some CD buffs or action buffs on to the allies, which is, you know, pretty good for funnels. Like, you head out to the battlefield and you just you head out to the battlefield and you have it at max HP, and you can just, you know, get killed, and for another funnel to come out, and, you know, for PvE purposes, basically. And that's basically what he is used for, and I don't really think I see him used anywhere else. I guess you can probably, like, I guess because, you know, they are collab awakens. So I guess, let's say if you're like low on awaken or something, right? You can potentially use him in, I don't know, like the weaker team of Apex, if you really lacks a lot of, you know, if you really lacks a lot of awaken or just good pilot overall. But aside from that, yeah, he's really just like a battery for, or I guess a funnel unit in PvE team. But that's about it. Yeah, anything else? I mean, I guess, yeah, never mind. I don't think other things are that important. So, but I mean, if people can make it work, definitely go for it. But just in the grand scheme of things, right? For the meta, for 4v4s, it's not exactly that is not exactly used, if not at all. Or is not exactly used much, if not at all. And for Zenith and for Apex, you probably have better units anyway for that. So now Ryoma is it's a different story, because Ryoma really got absolutely broken. I mean, it's probably as good. I mean, it might be better. Yeah, it might be better than when Ryoma came out back. When it first came out, which is pretty awesome. So let's go into this. Okay, I don't know, why couldn't I? Wait, do we not have Ryoma Awaken yet? Pretty sure we did. Like, pretty sure we do, right? Hold on, one moment. Do we not have Ryoma Awaken yet? Just gonna go into it. So, but basically, Ryoma Awaken. Imagine Byron. When it get attacked, it will use a random action. It will, but instead, for Ryoma, he will use the strongest action, which is pretty broken, because the strongest action of a mecha late, nowadays, are capable of winning the game if it is able to go off. So, and of course, and with the Ryoma's kit, if it has its certain value, like its certain, I guess, its own stat points, which they kind of like to do on on units now, right? Yeah, I guess. Hold on, yeah, Ryoma is not Yen or something, because usually it will show up on the thing, but I'll just use NC, I guess. So hold on a second. So freaking skill 3. I mean, I don't know why I didn't max it up, but I don't know. But yeah, it's just really strong. And if it has, it's like because when it I don't know how to translate this in English exactly, but when it goes, I guess, the limit breakpoints, it will also gain I guess 4 CC protection, which I don't think it is necessary, considering if you're using the strongest action of a mecha, that thing probably already has built-in protection. So I don't really think that matters that much, right? But yeah, this skill alone is already just pretty broken. Just imagine Byron, but like no RNG, and possibly even lesser cooldown as well, because a lot of the strongest units now, especially now with like Super X ults that we have, the cooldown might actually be lower than Byron's and such. So, and of course, it just have higher stats overall. It can gain final damage reduction equal to its final damage, I guess, damage dealt, or final damage value dealt increases. So that's just stats wise, it's also very strong, and it can potentially gain infinite of that using the active skill, because after you use active skill, all the SP gain after that, it will go into its limit break mode from active skill, basically. And of course, the last skill, you get just even more stats, and you open the field, or you go into the battlefield with already have SP recharge, and for every point of limit break mode, which again you get for every SP mode that you gain, you also get 0.7 attack, which again, that's limitless. So in PvE, so you can imagine in PvE how strong that can be, considering you can just gain infinite amount of damage, basically, as long as you just keep on gaining SPs. So in PvE, that's this unit is already pretty strong. And as I talk about in PvP as well, and for PvP, as I talked about before, the Byron, but like no RNG and using the strongest action, it's absolutely pretty broken. So, and of course, when it does that, and if it has a limit break points, that attack will also be amplified from by using those limit break points, which can again potentially just one shot enemies, depending on enemies. I guess, yeah. I don't know how to say. It just really powerful pilot that I think everyone should get, even if you're not. I mean, you probably should get Emperor for sure. Yeah. So just get Emperor and definitely get Ryoma Okay, no, so I mean, it is possible. Like it should be easier with the modern day, bar system, which is, for those who might not know, if you can get Ryoma to show up here once already, like also hold on, let me just put Twitch up real quick. If you can get Ryoma show up here, you can just keep on feeding them what's called dinner when it comes, and it wouldn't move, until you physically move them. So you can pretty much get Ryoma pretty easily. And as you do the event, you can also just get that point. You can also get their Awaken chip. So getting Ryoma is not that difficult. And of course, like I don't know when Ryoma. I mean, there's already pilots now that's trying to counter pilots like Ryoma, who have plays with SPs. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how Ryoma goes. But for now, yeah, this new pilot is already trying to anti those SP pilots like Ryoma. So yeah, just to show how strong he is. So that's Ryoma Awaken. I mean, I think there's probably even more stuff that I haven't talked about for him. But yeah, just know that you definitely want to get him. And even after Emperor is no longer, I guess, meta. I mean, Emperor is still used now, but let's say when Emperor do go out of meta, I can still see Ryoma being very, very strong on certain units in the future that might play into gaining SP or something like that. So especially again, it's skill with how strong the unit is, because again, when you get tagged, you will use he will use the strongest skill. So that thing usually wouldn't go outdated that quickly, I should say. So alright, so that should be enough for Ryoma Awaken. Let me just check some questions. Let me see if it's serious questions. The Outer Emperor will wipe us out. Okay, hold on. Let me also make sure like the stream is also going well, just in case, because I don't want it to I don't want it to let me just watch it on stream real quick, make sure everything is fine. Okay, seems good. Okay, seems fine. All right, now let's go into the builds for Getter Emperor. I guess you talk about Getter Emperors first. So, I mean, just read the chassis. You have return damage. You have a lot of the usual stuff that I don't want to repeat on a lot of the modern mecha. But of course, when upon its enter the field, it will also reduce the maximum HP by 10% of the enemies. Which again, this works in PvE as well. But there's a caveat. You kind of want to I guess like you kind of have to come in later than the boss, because boss in boss conquest doesn't come in right away, right? So you want it to, I guess, be in the back line. And there's basically a modern. I mean, it's not a modern day. I guess it's not a modern day. What's called Bahamut exactly. I mean, they do similar things, but but Bahamut can just exist. Exist right away. But Getter Emperor has to come in later and such. So but I mean, that skill already. This skill, like this ability already can, I guess, even when Getter Emperor is outdated, completely outdated in PvP, it will still be usable in PvE because of the skill where it can just reduce the the raid boss HP by 10%, which is incredible. Yeah, incredible. But by then you probably use him as like a 2-star or something in your funnel team and such. So and what else? And just a lot of other things. Oh yeah, and of course modern day Guan Yu. I forgot the name exactly for that mecha. It's a green one. It's a green one that is based on Guan Yu in the Three Kingdoms. I don't exactly know what name it was, but basically it's the one where it can have a chance of enemy using action being failed. But this one is a bit better because it will forcibly stop the action, which is better, because I think the one from the from the Guan Yu mech, that one can actually be protected by by anti-CCs as far as I know, because I think what happened is it will give you a bad action when you try to use when it tried to use or like when the enemy try to use an action, you know, if I guess if they're unlucky, the Guan Yu's aura triggered, then it will just give you a bad action. But this unit just stops the action right there. It just doesn't let you use it, and which is, you know, a lot better than, you know, being able to, you know, I guess get immune by it. So it's just modern day. It's a modern day of the green Guan Yu long neck, whatever the name is called, and which you guys should know how strong it was back then if you were, you know, there back then. So it just exists on the battlefield and it can already do something. So it's pretty incredible. And yeah, and this unit can just do that, which is on top of everything I have already talked about. So, and then what else? And of course we got a usual, you know, every 3.1 second it will return damage and such. And yeah, and it can also what's it called? It can also I guess do a check on the enemies, and if they fail to roll like I guess like a nat 20 at low HP, then, you know, they will get like their maximum HP taken away, which is kind of funny and just sound absolutely scary, you know, as a skill. Again, this unit, his action is okay. I'll get into it, but for this unit, just having these chassis right all over here already, even if it doesn't move, is already good. Like, even if it doesn't move, you know, this unit is already good. I'm gonna read all of these, you know, in English as well, right? So now I don't know how accurate they translated it in English, but hopefully I explained all the important one well, already. So, and then now it have a long handle and a fist. It's fine, I guess. It is fine. At least they have fist, and at least have long handle. I mean, I don't exactly think you need more nowadays. I don't think there's any like good sword ones nowadays, so yeah, it should be fine. And it's main cannon, right? It's little nose cannon or whatever that is. That thing is, at a certain point, like at the meta now, this thing just not gonna be used most of the time. Let's see if we can use it even. I don't remember which one it was. Yeah, I don't know which one it is. Maybe I turned off the animation as well, but it's the one that can give. Okay, I didn't even download the resources. Okay, so it's the one that can activate its, you know, its animation, which at a certain point of the meta, like at least in this meta, I've never seen the getters beam that much, if at all. So yeah, it is definitely not a necessary upgrade. So this is why Kid Empress is usable as 7-star, which is not too bad, you know, in modern era. Of course, you know, HP now can increase, you know, fire damage and such, so of course HP is going to be good, but I wouldn't count that if that is the same for every, you know, for every mecha nowadays. But I do think for 8-star, going for HP isn't a bad choice, considering how little it was able to use the that beam now. So yeah, and it's kind of sad that, like, I don't know if there are any buff for it yet, but I wish there's like an action that can force uses it, but I don't know, maybe it'll be too strong, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if there's any buff lately that or like, you know, buffs that made it happen, but I don't think it does. And as of its action, it is a bit clunky. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people can see that it is a bit clunky. However, it has pretty much all the things that, you know, the modern units that you want. You know, you got good protections, good AoEs, and of course, you know, within it, it also have hidden, I guess, how do I say it in English again? Like snipe, sort of, or I guess like a kill line or something. It's like basically, if an attack goes through, and if you're lower than a certain HP, it will just kill you. Like, it will just kill you. So I don't know how to call that in English, but basically it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I know it's like death touch. I don't know how to exactly say that in English, but it's basically something like that. And it was incredibly good against units like, you know, Feng Huang, right? Feng Huang, when it goes to 0 HP, it'll turn to an egg and it will revive, right? But when it is at low HP and if it get hit by one of the moves that contains the the death touch, then it would just kill Feng Huang right there, right? Like probably this move, it would just kill Feng Huang right there, right now, and then it can never revive, and it would just die, which is again pretty great, pretty good, and not just Feng Huang, it can deal with a lot of units that would revive, or with skill activation at low HP, because it will just ignore it. Because if you're under certain HP and you get hit by the attack, and it's just gone, and you'll just be gone. So it just have most they just have all of the like the modern units, or I guess the modern action that a units want, I guess. So, but the only downside that it really has, if you can even call it a downside, is that it doesn't change like its action, like its weapon that much. That means it is pretty much, it cannot use the Master Core, which I mean I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, having less usage can be bad, I guess, but there are other cores I can just use, and that wouldn't, I guess, that wouldn't matter that much. Especially now we got the new, I guess, what people call with the well core. That is in that is how do you call that in English? The well core, yeah, the evolution core, yeah. Especially with this core. Now this is a well core because aside from the one they can get from they can get in the Super Auto Z store, if you want to get more, it is you kind of had to buy the packs, which that's why people call it a well core. But you don't need to, don't worry about it. You don't need to buy it, because at this point in the meta, you can potentially go with just one core, if you want to. But if you're able to, like, for those who's able to, right? And if you want to get like the cheap one, the cheapest one, I don't know which one it was, like the cheapest one, cheap one, yeah. If you want to get, if you want to get the $5 one, I don't think it is a bad deal, because it is just a core that can be pretty good, depending on the situation, which I'll get into details after I finish. What? I'll probably talk about it now. Probably, yeah. It might be better if I talk about it now. So, for the core, for this core, because I'm about to get into the builds for this, so I might as well talk about this core. So, for this core, it's basically a margin core. Is basically this core, but like, aside from it being able to activate at the beginning, it will also, I guess, the effect will also activate again every 20 seconds, which is pretty awesome, because since it activate at the beginning, you can almost always ensure your action for any mecha to be maxed. So for example, if you go into a thing right now, you can see that that Emperor is able to use his, I guess, its strongest move right away, because it have its action be filled to the max using this core. And of course, more HP is always good. And when it gets that, it will also get some health regen. So it is a core that is great on almost everything that doesn't require you to, I guess, max SP. For example, if you're using Guy, I mean, Guy wouldn't be. I don't think Guy will be on Emperor, but if you're using Guy, right, as a pilot, right, then you probably will want to use SP core, like this one, for more SP right away. And for example, now that Emperor is now more in a supportive role, then you probably be using this core as well. So it's pilot dependent, it's role dependent, but it's good to have this just for, I guess, mecha that doesn't work as a setup that doesn't allow you to do something right away. Like for example, if you're not using this core, then and the Emperor might not be. I mean, or I guess Emperor is able to do that. It might be. I don't know what allows it to do that. Is a skill from the thing? I don't know, but there are units out there that isn't able to just do something right away, right? Emperor seems to be able to do that. I don't know which setup or which skills it is that allows him to do that, but there are units that couldn't do that out there. Then you can use this core, and they'll be hopefully able to use his strongest action right away at match start, which can be a pretty big difference in the battlefield. So yeah, and of course you got the ancient buff as well, which I mean doesn't really matter. And to be honest, like the every 20-second margin core thing, it also doesn't matter too much aside from the initial thing, but it is a better unit. It is a better core than most of the core out there. That I guess, for example, like for mecha that doesn't require a certain core, or for a pilot that doesn't require a certain core, right? Like for example, if you're using Liu Jimalu from like the past collab or something like that, then that unit probably will still want master core just for more to get benefit from the weapon exchange during the action. And of course, if you're using certain setups for the pilots and the mecha, then it'll be a different core. And of course, if you're using Hongwu still, right? If you're using Hongwu somewhere, then Hongwu will still want to have hydraulics. Where's hydraulic? Yeah, you will still want to use hydraulic if you're using Hongwu, because Hongwu want as low of a thing as possible. But for anything else, for pretty much anything else that isn't like a support, because support you probably want to use face ship. So for anything else, putting on this core will be fine. So to be honest, one is fine. Getting one for the thing is fine. But for those who's able to, getting the $5 one for the second one in the shop, it's not a bad idea to do that. But you won't, you'll be fine without it, I guess. I mean, maybe not in this meta, because this meta kind of wants more of this, but it might be temporary, because again, Hongwu might not be outdated. I guess depending on the meta as well, and of course there might be either more cores or I guess more setups that requires different kind of core. Because otherwise, if they just not rerun this core for a long time, so I guess like it's only the people who play during this era and buy the core is gonna be good in PvP. I don't think they will do that. Therefore, I think just getting one is fine. Especially if you're free to play, from the thing. But definitely get the one. Definitely get the one from the thing, because again, it is a unit that you just slap on something and it'll be fine. So yeah. So okay, so that's enough for the core, and now let's get into the builds. So the builds, I didn't have a core on because again, it is definitely dependent. Now, if you're using Ryoma, then Ryoma is obviously going to be using this core, because Ryoma is the one is a damage dealer. So you want to use this core to have more HP for the damage, and of course instantly recharging all of your actions, so you can just do more attacks, right away. I don't really think there's any better ones, to be honest. Yeah, I don't really think. Yeah, I don't think anything else will be better than this core for Emperor. Or I guess if you're going for offensive, Emperor, right? You can, or I guess eventually Emperor will become support carry status, and that's when you might want to change the core. But for now, this core will still be the best, because you are doing damage with this unit. And now for the bullets. This is like Claw. I think Claw is probably better if you're using it as a support carry. But if not support carry, they can use the newest one just for even more damage. That you can definitely do that as well, because it does have a long handle melee. But again, this is for. I guess I would do a support. Support build later as well. For Emperor. So, and then for the support part, it's just this one, but you can go for more HP for more damage if you want to. But I think using this one, even as DPS, I think using this one is a little bit more safer. So yeah. And then for the armor, from steel, and for the coatings is just Gaia part. And then for the pets, because when you're using as a DPS, you want to use Pisces, because you're the one doing DPS. Therefore, you can get a lot more, I guess Pisces shield from it. So it's just good. It is good. I don't know. Or I guess for DPS, usually you want to go for Pisces, because again, you're the one doing damage, right? So, and then for the co-pilot, now co-pilot is going to obviously always be pilot dependent. And for Ryoma, it's gonna be that's gonna be her, because she can fasten your attack, and that can be potentially pretty deadly, especially on Ryoma as well. Because again, Ryoma kind of can, not as like a spam probably, but it can do a lot of the strongest action, and of course and of course his active skill can also activate the action as well. So yeah, but of course if you don't have her, don't worry about it. You can just use the best one that you have. Something defensive, something defensive, something offensive, whatever. Again, just use the one that you have. You don't have to be locked into to a certain pilots and such. But the thing is, since you're going for DPS, at least for this build, then probably something more offensive like her is probably better. But yeah, well, now let's get into the support builds. Also, let me just watch the stream as well. Meta always change. How do you get that core on global? Hold on. I think I showed earlier. The core on global is basically just SAS. It's a Super Z 50 for this core. So and you can get some more from the from the packs, but it is it's good to have, but again, I don't think it is like even free to play. Like, because I understand if free to play, it might not be like that. Might be a tall order to do it, or like you might just not be able to do it. But it's fine because like I don't say it's fine. It's just people who have more just have more flexibilities on the builds, especially when you have both Saint and Emperor, right? Each of them might want one, but it's fine without, I guess. It is also fine without. So yeah, I don't know how to explain exactly. It's just having more is good, but only having the one from Super Z is also fine. It's just you have to be you have to use it on I guess when you're building something, like let's say if you're building Saint, right? Let's say if this core is on your Emperor, then on Saint, or on Saint Dragon, then you probably want to have a pilot that is like you probably want to have a pilot that is that can use active skill right away. For example, him. Then if you have him, then you might not need this core because he will just use one of the strongest. I mean, it's still good to have this core even with him, I think, because he uses the strongest move right away, but he doesn't recharge all of the moves for you. But at least it is something that I can do. At least it is something that she can. Or I guess it is at least something that he can I guess makeshift and can use another parts on it. Like let's say, I don't know, this core. I think there's long range, right? Yes, long range. So maybe use this core for now in replacement of a second evolution core. So yeah. Alright, anyway, so let's do a support role and see if there's any more good luck on game today. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck. Alright, so now let's go into support build. That can be any support pilots. So I'm put on Nia because Nia is the one that's being used with him right now, or with Emperor right now as a support. So, but hold on, let me take out the thing real quick because again, I don't want people to like go into the stream and see something that might be that might seem weird. So let me go to Nia. Where's Nia? Where the heck is Nia? What the heck? Where is Nia? I couldn't. Oh, here it is. Alright, so Nia. Well, Nia, as a support, you're not exactly doing damage. You kind of just letting Emperor sit there and then just chill, and while activating all of his other effects. And then you can also go for this one just for more abilities. And for the pets, you can go for the Pisces, but again, your Pisces will probably be on your DPS, so I don't think you have that much Pisces. But it's fine because for support carries, you can always use this pet, which is just a pretty good survival pet, while you also don't need to do damage for the Pisces shield. And for the Emperor corporate skill, just honestly just the best one you have. For example, for me, I will probably use Cthulhu just for more HP and just for another supportive skill on the units, right? And of course, you let's say you can already guarantee, because Emperor can probably already survive on his own. If you want to, you can actually use the newest pet, which I haven't redeemed yet. I don't have enough stats yet. You can use another sort of supportive pet or something like that. Like for example, this Beast of Possibilities on, as a pet. So basically, this Emperor is carrying a support pilot, a support pet, and and a support co-pilot. So it's just an ultimate support carrier, which is kind of what Emperor is doing nowadays. So yeah. So this is two kind of builds. Now you can use different ones. Like you can use a different, like a different I guess support skill, I guess. Or you can use a different support pilot. Let's say if you want to use Mikoto, which I mean, I don't think people use Mikoto with Emperor now, but let's say if you were, then of course you probably want to use, I don't know what the best support. Maybe this one just for more flexibility. I don't know. But just use the best one that you have. Depending on the meta, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go to Nia because Nia is the one that's being used right now, along with Emperor and such. So, and this is pretty much the same thing with, well, not the same thing, but you know what? I'll just go into Saint. You're just going to Saint right now. So let's go to Saint. Thanks a ton. Yeah, how do you get out? Okay, so now for Saint, where's Saint? Now for Saint, let me go back to Ryoma real quick. So Saint, obviously, if you're using Ryoma, that means you're doing DPS. That means you will probably want to use this core so you can do more DPS. But again, you don't need this core. Let's say if this core is on Emperor, then you can probably use something like this one for more damage or something like that. That can potentially work as well. Just makeshift a usable core, I guess, for now. Or you can have core on this unit and just have phase on on Emperor. That could potentially work as well. Of course, it'll be depending on your pilot pairing and such overall. But I think it's probably better to put, like, let's say the Wataru Creator pilot on this one instead, and have Ryoma on Emperor for now. It is probably better. So and then for the bullet, bullets is pretty much always has been this one, the beam bullet, just for more, I guess, just for more damage. So I don't know why exactly why they're not using ether. I assume it's because probably some of the attack probably doesn't count as a shooting attack, but because it pretty much always has been this bullet. So I'm just gonna put this bullet on because I'm pretty sure they have their reasons for doing that. So and then now just self-explanatory for these things. And what's pet, if you're using it as a DPS, then obviously go for Pisces. But if you're using it as a support, then there'll be a lot more different pets, or there'll be different pets for you to use from that. And then now for Copilot, again, Copilot is gonna be mecha dependent. It will just be for Ryoma at least, it'll just be that, or it'll just be her most of the time. So yeah. But again, if you don't have her, just use the best one you have. It can be defensive, it can be offensive. Just whatever you have, that might suit the best for your team. So, and of course, if you want to go for support, let's go back to Nia again. And of course, the thing is, because this unit is technically a ranged unit, like you probably can still be doing damage. It might be fine to keep this core on if you don't want to use it on something else. But of course, it is a range unit. I don't know how often phase shift will come in handy, but I'm keeping this phase. I'm keeping evolution on for now. Even as a support, because I don't really think that, like, I'm not so sure if phase will be as useful as like if it was on Emperor, I guess. So yeah. And then because it is a support, then we can switch on to the umbrella pet, and then again for defensive you can just use this one, or some other defensive pet. The best defensive move that you have should work as well. So just another defensive. It's pretty much very similar to Emperor. And I didn't get into like the detail for Emperor Dragons is because its chassis also it's not exactly the same, But there are just like instead of HP debuff, it is action CD debuff, which is pretty good, especially against units units like Homewood that I guess plays around with lowering CDs and such. And it can, and I guess it is also sort of like a Feng Huang thing where it can go into 30. Okay, it goes into the state every when it's under 30%, which is probably better this way, because if it's too low, right? If it's 10%, it will be way too low for the instant kill moves to kill it. So yeah, doing it at 30% is probably pretty good. So just a range unit that can just hold its own, because yeah, it's just like a modern day Feng Huang that wouldn't get one shotted right away, while also being able to actually do damage, which is just pretty awesome. And then it's like that's like dice rolling move is for support, which is again another mecha that can just do things when it exists on the field, so but maybe not as much compared to Emperor, because Emperor can literally stop the enemy's movement, but this unit can at least, I guess, do damage at the same time being like Feng Huang, where it is hard to kill because of its move and such. So I'm gonna go into another example of a DPS build. I mean, this will probably be fine now, because until both of these units become like a support carry or something like that. So let's say we put on the Watalu, and of course for the Watalu, then you probably want to use a corporate skill that actually fits with the with him, which is her, right? So again, the pilot, like for the co-pilot choice is always pilot dependent, and of course pilot will also be, and the build will also be pilot dependent, depending on if they're a DPS build, or depending on if they're a DPS pilot or like a support pilot and such. So alright, so that should be most of the things. Just put Leon back on real quick. So yeah, I think I'm missing something. Yeah, I think I'm missing something. I'm trying to think. I definitely missed something, I'm pretty sure. If you know, definitely let me know, because I think I got too carried away when I was explaining it. Hold on. Yeah, I got the parts. I got Saint Dragon as well. I got Future Emperor, and I got. There's something that I think I'm missing. So yeah. Oh, I guess for Saint, right? You can also use this pet if you were to use it as a support carry and such. So, but hold on. There's something I'm definitely missing. But if I miss anything, I'll just put it down in like or if I remember what it is, I'll definitely put it down in the in the comments and in the description and such. So yeah, Jesus Christ, maybe I'm tired, I don't know. Okay, right, so this is Emperor and Saint done. If I can remember what I missed, I will try to do that after. But for now, I'm going to go into like if you were to use, for example, Shin Getter or Shin Getter Dragon Retrofit, right? The build is pretty simple, pretty sure. So I'm gonna put on like a throwaway but also good pilot somewhere. Let's say hold on, because disasters definitely want to be like on a main pilot, but disaster could be on anything, honestly. So you know what? I'm gonna use disaster for now, because the disaster is probably a bit more like overall, I guess. So I'm gonna put disaster here. So let's just go into the builds for Saint Dragon, like for not Saint Dragon, for Shin Getter Dragon, Retrofit, Star Slayer, whatever move, right? It's gonna be pretty easy. If you have this core, you can use this core. If you don't have this core, just go something like a face, and it's just fine. face, face should be fine, and then just go this, and then just go this, and then just go Gaia, and then go hold on. Actually don't know what would be a good pet, because you're not gonna be doing damage. If you're not gonna be doing damage, Pisces is not gonna do much. So I guess the umbrella, I guess umbrella, because again, the thing is your umbrella is probably gonna be on someone else. So like, so I don't know, I don't know. I don't, because hold on, yeah, you know what? Let me not use a pet, because again, you want to use these pets, like Pisces and the umbrella and some other units on like good, on your good units. You don't want to use it on this unit, because this unit is probably going to be in your backline somewhere, in CV, in CV6 or something. So I'm just gonna get blank and use whatever that is left that is good. It's probably better. Yeah, it's probably better this way, because I don't want to put on a thing and then you guys can copy it, and then because again, you want to use a better pet on your Emperor, on your Saint, or on your other units before you put it on this thing. So so I'm gonna leave pet empty, and then I'm gonna put like probably something that's probably something defensive, or either something defensive or something that can just activate once in case if it just dies, right? Let's say this one. Let's say low support, because when you go in, you can just buff allied or something like that, right? Which is not even that great now, honestly. Something. Yeah, something like this, I guess. So when you die, it's fine, because I guess it technically did its job, for like to carry a support unit or something. I don't know. Yeah, something like that, and it's pretty much the same thing for Shinketa Dragon. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing for Shinketa Dragon. For Shingetter Robo as well. Even though some of the skill says that it'll do this and that along with Ryoma, your Ryoma is gonna be on someone else, bro. Your Ryoma is gonna be on Emperor. Your Ryoma is gonna be on Saint, or on any better units. Don't put it on these two units. And yeah. However, I have to say that these two Retrofit is at least better than what we get in Gurren Lagann, where Gurren Lagann and Rasengan got absolutely shafted, more so than Star Slayer. Star Slayer at least got like a cool animation, right? Cool animation, and it got like it still had like its own stuff, right? I mean, technically Gurren Lagann and Rasengan technically has it as well, but yeah, the fact that they can, I don't know. I just don't know. Like they don't have the ability to like balance all units anymore, or they just don't want to bother like to make new moves for them, or I guess to make them to overhaul the moves or something. But either way, even though you probably shouldn't, or I guess at the best case scenario, you're probably gonna be using your Shingetter Robo or your Shinketa Dragon on something like your Apex team, like the weaker Apex team, right? You can technically still do that, but I wouldn't even use Gurren Lagann. So at least on that front, they are sort of not the worst fate compared to what's to come with Gurren Lagann units. So I guess if you want to put like that as a silver lining, which is kind of funny, I don't know why. Just sad, because I really like Shingeta. I never watched the anime, but I really like Shingeta Robo, and really like Shingeta Dragon as well. But it's too bad that they're not they're not too usable and such. But at least they're not Gurren Lagann, At least they're not Rasengan. Okay, one thing funny about Shingeta Dragon is that when under 20%, I think they upped that a little bit, because back then I think it was 10%. And again, 10%, as I talk about before, some instant kill moves are based on your HP percentage. If you're at 10%, that's way too low. You can't get instant kill from that. So I don't know what is the highest instant kill value move there are, but 10% is definitely instant killable. I think it might be 15%, but 20% is at least a little bit more safe to at least transform into dragons. Otherwise, Shinketa Dragon is Shin Dragon is just gonna get, it's just gonna get instant killed, which I think will be extremely funny. That's the case. And both of these units, and even more so Shin Dragon, are kind of good on paper. Like, you can, let's say if you can, like for those who have it without rolling, definitely go try it out to see if you can make something out of it. They are good on paper, with their skills, with their skills. But again, it's just so a lot of other factors, or just units being a lot more stronger now. Is some of these look like, some of these move that looks good just does not feel that well in real battle anymore. But at least these two units is something that you definitely play around with to see if you can make something work out of it. But I wouldn't have hope. And for those who don't have these units at max level yet, just get Emperor and get Saint Dragon. And if you still have resources left and you don't want to roll for Gurren Lagann, or I guess Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, then you can try to go for Dragon or Shingeta or something like that. Will be a better choice. But again, that's built on if you don't want TTGL. Is despite how bad, I guess, despite how fast TTGL is out of the PvP meta, at least, it might actually be better to just save for I guess TTGL just for the PvE usage or something like that, or something. I don't know. Alright, so I think that should be it about everything I want to cover. I don't know if I missed anything. I feel like I'm missing something, but I hope I'm not missing anything. I got the parts, I got the pilots, I got a thing, so I don't know what exactly that I feel like I'm missing. Maybe the parts. I mean, this part is good for DPS, if you are using a DPS. But the thing is, you can see how. Hold on, does it include a thing? Does it? I guess okay. I guess it would include super Excel. I don't know. I don't know if this will include Super Excellent. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it affects it as well. But it's just a good unit to use, or good PvP part to use for, I guess, a DPS build. But I guess most of the time, I think Claws is also a bit safer, I guess. Well, yeah. But I mean, it is a quote unquote free part from farming, so definitely so definitely get it. And then especially now, you can definitely use get the Emperor for now or something like that. So definitely utilize the shop as well. Don't just mindlessly grind. Yeah. Alright, let me read chat, make sure I got everything. Do Ryoma have Nagare Awakening? I think on the patch note, I think it says it got Awakening. So I don't know what is wrong with the thing right now. Maybe they didn't add it, or maybe it will come in later. Hopefully, hopefully it will come in later. Yeah, maybe it's just Benkei now, and then Ryoma will come later. Hopefully that's the case. I don't know if that will be the case, but let's hope that happens. Yeah, let's hope Ryoma come. But I mean, I did cover all of this already. So when Ryoma does come, then you guys can come here again to I guess, I don't know if I'm doing a good job explaining it, but that you guys can understand it again when it does come out on in EN. So alright, so I think that's everything, right? Hold on, let me well, okay, hold on 1 second. My bad. I didn't. Hold on, yeah. I wasn't able to see the chat because my Twitch chat is completely, yeah. My bad. If you're still here, yeah. My bad. I didn't realize that you were here. I just got a bunny boy. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, blood pissing me off. My bad. But yeah, sorry for the sorry for not reporting right away, because there was some what's called there was some scammers that was here, so I had to put the thing up. So alright, So I think that that's it's already over an hour, but I don't want it to go on for too long. So yeah, definitely. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in our Discord, or feel free to ask me in our Discord, or down in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. And if I miss anything, because I think I'm missing something, if I miss anything, I will add them down as well, or I'll cover them in my next stream, which probably will be after the collab ends, because I think I covered everything now already. So yeah, what's it called? Thank you also so much for coming by, and see you all next time. Goodbye. Oh, god dang, huh? I feel I got carried away, just like yapping, and then I forgot, all the things that I need to yap about or something. I don't know. My throat. Yeah, that one costs 50. Yeah, usually good. Yeah. They can rewind the stream a little bit to see what I talk about it and such. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely get the one. Yeah, definitely get the one from the Super Alloy Z shop. So, goodbye.